Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here at Electronica for ScoopTalk. Our first roundtable today is on the topic of automotive electronics and the supply chain around that. We're seeing lots going on in the automotive supply chain, autonomous cars, all kinds of technologies, but also obviously electrical cars. What I'm interested in exploring is how it's impacting you guys in different ways.
Yeah.
Dave, if I can start with you from the
Sure.
PCB side, it's an area that you're aggressively working in at the moment.
Yes, that's right.
What are the challenges that are unique to the automotive sector?
I think what we're seeing is a change in the technological focus, really. We're seeing a big advance into high-density electronics, smaller, faster, hotter, cheaper, which is being driven by the infotainment sector and also by radar and autonomous driving. That's a very, very fast-growing sector of the market for us. So it's challenging, really, the technology capability, really, of PCB manufacturers because it's taking it away from the standard, more conventional PCB supply chain and moving it more into almost like a consumer type market with much higher density components being used to satisfy the demand. So it's challenging in terms of technology and the type of PCBs that we're manufacturing today.
Yeah. Thibaut, from your point of view, in terms of your involvement with the automotive companies, IMI is known for its involvement or its success in that sector. How has that come about? Do you have to get involved at the very early design phase?
Well, the first thing I would say is we see two major trends, I believe, from our perspective. What we can offer as service is the mechatronic is beginning, so more electronic in the mechanical parts, which is requiring us from the EMS part to offer electronic, but not only, with box built and more mechanical parts to be assembled and to provide subsystem to our customers. That's one aspect. The other way is we are developing an activity which is power modules, which is basically answering all the problematics of the e-car, electrical car, and bringing more power to the system and the engines. And this is technology that we have developed in-house and we offer to our customers, and that address typically these major trends of more electronic and more power into the car. That's major.
See, Klaus, the power part is obviously a big part of it, but also the whole technology and the compliance side. What are you seeing in terms of trends and demands?
I think that the technology is just in the beginning for the cars. To implement the things in the cars is one point, and the other point is the IoT, to connect the car to the world. And this is the future we see in the market. So from car technology side, we have already a lot of solutions in the market that the tier ones have solutions, but the infrastructure has to be improved. And the next point is the e-mobility or powertrain. This is also additional future because we have a lot of lower side who want to implement the electronic cars.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and when we talk about electrical cars, obviously we're seeing, I live in California, so we're seeing Tesla everywhere, but I've seen a lot of Tesla here in Europe, but also Nissan, I think, is the largest electric car manufacturer in the world. There's a lot going on in that market. Does that put particular demands, and are you creating technology for that, or are you just supporting their development?
We're supporting the development from them, but in the final we only build them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Offer solutions to the customers is the job of the other companies.
Yeah. And Thibaut, from your point of view, IMI has a power division, I think.
Yeah.
You acquired a company a few years ago in that area. Has that helped you in the
Yeah,
automotive
definitively.
sector?
I mean, we have taken the technology from that company and we've moved it to the more automotive requirements. And as some other discussed before, we offer some development services. Not that we want to replace our customers, far from that, but we want to be able to better support them in how they implement the electronic into their products, and also to make them more manufacturable, more cost efficient, more reliable, and more adapted to their needs. So we offer this development engineering services.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. And Dave, from your point of view, do you get involved in the design side of the printed circuit boards?
We do, yes. I mean, it's an area that we're trying to develop because from a PCB manufacturer's point of view, the best place to be involved is right at the very start. And we're finding that a lot of our customers are much more receptive in that area now because ultimately we can help them to design for cost as well as functionality, which is equally important to them. So yeah, I mean, we are working very closely with the design teams all over the world, really. I mean, we are a global company and we have to be because design teams are located everywhere. So that's a very important part of what we do, yes.
Yeah, and those two contrasting areas of miniaturization, but also high power,
Yeah.
and then the requirement for reliability.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges does that create in the way you manage your supply chain in terms of laminate selection, that kind of thing?
Well, we have a multi-site strategy, really. We have 4 facilities. So you were talking about Tesla and Nissan and the electric car market. There's a variety of different technologies all over that kind of application. In terms of the powertrain, I mean, it involves things like heavy copper, which is a different manufacturing process to the more conventional HDI technology, for example. So we have to focus really our manufacturing capability in that area if we're going to be involved in that particular segment. And it's not necessarily always possible to do it in the same factory that you're making a high density product in. So it does alter the manufacturing location and manufacturing strategy. And it also, obviously, as you rightly mentioned, involves different supply chain, for the heavy copper-based materials and so on, and where we get it from, how we ship it, and all that kind of thing, because there is a high cost involved in that.
Yeah. And Klaus, from your point of view, you're involved in PCB manufacture and the assembly process, so you're working with both of those. Within the automotive sector, there's quite an established kind of multi-tier supply chain, the Bosches, the Continentals, or the Delphis. How do you build relationships with them, or do you build relationships with the car manufacturers themselves? How does that work through that structure?
Yeah, we go into the tier 1 direct and discuss with them solutions, what we can do, what we can offer. We're working in a cooperation with the other companies, also on the technology side. And in the final, it is the decision of the customer where he wants to make this manufacturing to make his products.
And when we look at that, when we look at where they want to make, there's some shifts going on in terms of global trends. I was in Guadalajara a couple of weeks ago. We're seeing more automotive companies enter that space. We're seeing more move into Hungary, for example. And there's a whole bunch of companies in China, Thibaut, that we've not heard of. Where do you see that geography trend going?
I think from our perspective, it's relatively equal growth. I mean, most of our tier 1s, whether they are from China, from the US, or from Europe, they have a global reach of the market, and they answer global systems to their OEMs, which means that very often we face a situation where one of our customers is saying, okay, I want to build that project, but in the 3 regions.
Right.
So we offer this possibility to have really this very same project copy-paste in the 3 regions to be able to serve their purpose in every region. Top of that, it's true that we have seen the strong development of the automotive market in Mexico. A lot of companies, especially from Japan, are moving there. There is now really a corridor of automotive market in Mexico, and a lot of tier 1s are settling there. So the market is growing very fast in Mexico, definitively.
Yeah. And from your point of view, your global footprint is assisting you in supporting that market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the tier 1 manufacturers, if we look at the automakers, I mean, they are very much developing sort of like a systems mentality or a systems strategy. So they're looking for their suppliers to deliver a bigger part of their product to them.
Yeah.
And that, I think, inherently means that they are manufacturing and assembling close to where the tier 1 OEMs are based.
Yeah.
So that naturally moves it to a global scenario.
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely, we have to be aware of that, and we have to support multi-sites for one customer, as Thibaut was saying.
And Klaus, from your point of view, global companies supporting all those regions, but headquartered in Silicon Valley. We're seeing Mercedes, Porsche, BMW, traditional European car manufacturers opening R&D facilities in Silicon Valley. How does that work with you in terms of innovation?
Yeah, we have no problem with this because we have 75 locations all over the world. We can follow the customers and offer solutions for them. There's a possibility from our side. The advance, or how I see the market, is that there's still the big developing is in Japan or in Europe. And US also take special things, what they want to have on the cars. Yeah. And the advantage of to be global is, okay, you can reach the whole world.
Yeah.
And sell your product to everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so last question, starting with Dave. More automotive electronics, more and more complexity? Is it becoming basically one large connected device?
Certainly the technology is growing and developing. I mean, I think there will, for a long time, there will be the traditional base of automotive electronics, the safety critical powertrain type product, and that won't change. But we are seeing, you mentioned autonomous driving earlier on. I mean, the kind of camera applications, the radar applications, they are developing hugely. I mean, we're going to be seeing a $70 billion PCB market in a couple of years' time, just for automotive electronics. So that gives an indication really of just how large and how fast growing the market is for us.
Yeah. Thibaut, more growth worldwide?
Yeah, definitely. I think what we meet with our customers, the tier ones, so they all come to us and say, okay, our growth in electronic is going to be very strong. And basically their message to us is, please staff yourself, grow with us, because the need will be there and you have to follow the massive trend on the electronic.
Yeah, and it's an industry you have to be in and establish yourself in.
So
they want players they trust. Yeah. And last from you, Klaus?
Yeah, what I see is the automotive is the basic. If you're looking in the future for the next 30, 40, 50 years, we have the IoT. So we have the network implemented in the car. So the car is only the unit which opens the world for other electronic applications.
Yeah. So we have to connect to smart cities and build that whole environment around it. Gentlemen, fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.